Governor. Chair, I want to go on record as one of the people who have expressed deep concern about this particular arrangement with the national government, with the county government of Nairobi. I want to be very clear from the onset that nobody is against development, nobody is against support from the national government to the county government in the execution of their mandates for the use of the funds. But you will agree with me that everything we do is subject to the law and the Constitution. We start with Article 10 of the Constitution, which requires that any time any person makes any policy pronouncements or public policy decisions such as the ones you have taken to essentially transfer these functions to the national government, you have to apply the values in Article 10, which also include, and I'm sure you're aware, that public participation has to be taken before the fact, not after the fact, and we will come to that shortly, Honorable Chair. The agreement is expressed to be pursuant to Section 6 of the Urban Areas Act, and the Governor has rightfully referenced that whereas it anticipates an agreement between the two levels of government to support Nairobi recognizing its special standing, that particular section makes it subject to Section 2, subsection 2 of that Section 6, which says that the county government shall be run as a county government. And Honorable Speaker, I will send you straight to Article 176, which gives us a definition of a county government. Article 176(1) says there shall be a county government for each county consisting of a county assembly and the county executive. So that, Honorable Chair, any agreement under Section 6 of the Urban Areas Act must recognize that the only structure of management of a county is the one that is established under 176(1). So that if you introduce any management body outside those two, you are flouting subsection 2 of Section 6 of the Urban Areas and Cities Act. Honorable Speaker or Chair, Article 177 further establishes the membership of the county assembly and the county executive. It does not include, outside the Speaker, outside the members of the county assembly, you cannot purport to introduce any other organ. And in the membership of the county executive as well, you cannot purport to introduce members of the national executive in the management of the county and then claim that you have done it in accordance with the law. Secondly, Honorable Speaker, or Chair, public participation that is anticipated under Article 10(1)(c) is something that is required prior to decisions being made. Your Excellency, you entered into agreement. You have signed an agreement here. And I would want that when the committee starts interrogating, we need to understand as the people of Nairobi how long these conversations have been going. Because it is not possible that, in my estimation, I don't think that these conversations happened within a week or two. You, as the head of the government in Nairobi, have been having these conversations with the view of entering this agreement with the national government. I think I'll be right to assume that it has taken some time. What was so difficult for you to be able to publish, for instance, a notice and say the Nairobi County government is in talks with the national government with a view of entering an agreement that looks like this, and then allow us as the people of Nairobi to conduct public participation and give our views, including the County Assembly of Nairobi? Honorable Chair, I want to confirm as a Senator of Nairobi that I had no idea that these particular negotiations were going on, outside the fact that the Governor is my friend, is able to reach me on phone. I had no clue until I saw that invitation that there was going to be a signing ceremony, and you put it at a very unfriendly address, which of course Sifuna is not welcome to attend. We have seen the schedule that has been published for now, the public participation. The people of Nairobi are supposed to undertake that public participation tomorrow. Actually, it starts today at Charter Hall and then Friday in the constituencies. This is an egregious violation of the right of public participation, in my view, because you have already put pen to paper, Honorable Governor. And it is, the courts in Kenya have already ruled that when the Constitution requires public participation, it has to be meaningful. It cannot be a cosmetic exercise meant to rubber stamp something that has already been settled. So, Honorable Chair, I have a problem, and this Committee of Devolution must actually protect the people of Nairobi. If you read the text of the agreement, it actually only anticipates, Governor, amendments that might come from public participation. It says that if there are any amendments that are proposed by the people of Nairobi, and you yourself have alluded to the possibility of amendments, what you have called refining the agreement, but you and the President do not anticipate that the people of Nairobi in their righteous might can actually say, we don't want this agreement. So, whereas the agreement anticipates that you can accommodate our views and amend it, we, the people of Nairobi, can say, we reject it in total. We have not seen where you accommodate that particular view. I will move on to the next one, Honorable Chair. The governor, being a former senator, is aware that in fact there exists legal mechanisms for us to be able to send specific support to specific counties wherever it is required, and noted that there is a specific need. Governor, we have passed the county government's additional allocations all this time when we've been in the Senate. You're familiar with that particular piece of legislation. It is possible, Governor, and I will give the illustration of the county aggregation parks. Nairobi County, because we do not consider it a need, when you look at the column of the county government's additional allocation, you will see Kiambu, our bedroom, receives money for KAIPs, county aggregation parks. On the column for Nairobi, it is blank because of the recognition that probably our priorities lie elsewhere. When the county governments began in 2013 on Buchea, there are counties that did not have headquarters. I went to Mandera and I found that they were given money specifically to a need to say, let us have county headquarters. They have built those county headquarters. If you look at the column for Nairobi, you will see that Nairobi does not receive money for county headquarters. So there is a legal instrument, Governor. There's a legal instrument. You should have pointed out to the President that it is possible for the national government to identify the specific need, for instance, on street lighting. Our bill for street lighting almost matches some of the money that some of these counties spend on school feeding programs and the other things. It is a special need, and it Governor, if you look at the agreements that the control of budget required that counties do, there is no similar management mechanism that has been put in place. Musalia doesn't sit on our bursaries board, but we have an agreement so that you regularize it through the constitution. Thirdly and fourthly, the management committee. That is a problem that you as a committee will have to deal with. Musalia Mudavadi has sneaked himself into elective office in Nairobi because he's essentially undertaking the functions of your government. And I know he's your brother, but you don't have to share power with him. Honorable Chair, yes, there is the question of pending rates, Governor. You yourself will tell this committee the current outstanding balance. Last we had a conversation with you about how much money national government owes the people of Nairobi. I think it was upwards of something like 100 billion Kenya shillings. Why can't you tell the President that you have the capacity as a county government to be able to manage Nairobi? Let him give us our money. Let him give us our money. And then we will build our roads. I have seen this county government building roads. Unless, Governor, you are saying you cannot build roads. If the national government gave the county government of Nairobi money, you have the capacity to build those roads. You have the capacity to do those sewer lines. You have the capacity to do the drainages. You are a government. Tell them to give us our money. When we see people saying, we will give you this money, but we are not very sure you will run it, so let's send Musalia to chair the board. That is unacceptable under the Urban Areas and Cities Act. Lastly, Chair, we are concerned about the oversight framework because I sit in the County Public Accounts Committee, and we as a Senate, we are guided by the reports of the Auditor General. We are making the life of the Auditor General difficult when during an audit process, they have to go to various entities to be able to find documentation that support the expenditure of these resources. So for instance, if we want to audit these resources that have been given under this particular arrangement, you are told, oh, there are some documents you have to go and get from the treasury, the others are sijui where, the others are this. You are making it difficult for the auditor to be able to do their job. Lastly, Governor, the NMS, you yourself promised the people of Nairobi, we will not get into a misadventure similar to that one. This one is similar to that misadventure. It left us with a lot of pending bills. You have spoken to it. I heard you during your address to the county assembly. And Governor, you came before this Senate. You came before this Senate. This Senate helped you to extract a concession from State House that Nairobi people will not be paying the pending bills under NMS. We said the comptroller of State House, who was the accounting officer under NMS, should pay those resources. Governor, my expectation is when you go to State House, please remind the president that he is the one responsible for payment of those NMS pending bills before you sign the contract. You cannot just be there smiling and laughing, and yet you know the trouble that these contractors from NMS are going through. Let them pay their pending bills, and we don't want this misadventure again. With those few remarks, Honorable Chair, I thank you, and I reserve the right to ask any supplemental questions if the committee will allow me.
Let's allow the governor to respond first.
Chair, which I can get all the questions.
Yeah, okay.
Because they might be similar in nature.
Chair, I thought because you gave the senator of the sitting room, you give the senator of the bedroom of Nairobi to also come through.
Thank you, Chair, for this opportunity. First, this committee has discussed the weak intergovernmental relations in Kenya. So, to begin with, as the Committee on Devolution and Intergovernmental Relations, we have been working to get governments at the national and county level to understand the Kenyan form of devolved governance, which is collaborative and cooperative. And we have had 13 years of operating as if they are competing. National government is competing with county governments. And yet both levels are supposed to deliver services to the same audience, the same citizens. So in my view, I welcome the fact that we want to attempt to have healthy intergovernmental relations for the benefit of service delivery to the mwananchi. So this is the first time that we are attempting to operationalize Section 6 of the Urban Areas and Cities Act, another act that we have not properly implemented in the country in the 13 years on this issue. It is also a good attempt at trying to implement 189(2) that requires that government at each level and the different governments at the county level cooperate in the performance of functions and exercise of powers, and may set up committees for that purpose. So we expect horizontal cooperation among counties. We expect vertical cooperation among counties for purposes of delivering services. But as Senator for Nairobi has raised concern, even as we cooperate horizontally, vertically, we must respect the basic tenets of the Constitution. And we have read through this agreement that you have, and we have a few concerns. One, we don't see clarity in terms of what the agreement is, in terms of this is what national government will do, and this is what county government will do, and this is how the nature of collaboration will happen. The agreement is so general that it looks as if we have incorporated national government actors into the cabinet of the county government to make decisions over the county functions. So we have not seen that demarcation that indicates that Nairobi County can only manage to do 40,000 street lights. National government feels we need to up that to 70,000, and therefore national government is planning a conditional grant to county government to help it top up from the 50,000 that they are able to do to the 70,000 that we think Nairobi should have. That is not clear in this agreement. And the manner in which you've set up the committees looks as if national government is actually making decisions over county functions and then pushing it down to be implemented. And even in that implementation, top-heavy PSs of national government, and we don't see the operation of the county government officers is a bit vague. So it is unclear on what that implementation means. And does it mean supervising or oversighting implementation or implementation? When you call it implementation committee, one could easily be persuaded to mean a PS, a mischievous PS might imagine that they have actually been given the job to set up lights in the city of Nairobi. So how do we ensure that we respect the functional integrity of the county government even as we enter into this agreement? So how are we using the tool of conditional grants? It is unclear in here. You haven't even made a reference to what that means. Is it technical support they're trying to give you? Is it that Nairobi County cannot put up lights, so national government, which has the function of technical support, wants to give technical support? It is unclear on what we are, how we are going about this function. On the issue of public participation cannot be cosmetic. This is the one principle on which we've had the highest litigation on the Constitution of Kenya. And by now it has been refined that public participation cannot be cosmetic. So you can't sign and then go and find views. So we need to find out how can you go back to ensure that you take in the views that would enrich this and then decide on how to go about this. The issue of appropriation, again, very vague. Is National Assembly going to appropriate funds for county functions, or is going to appropriate conditional grants by national government to county functions? It's unclear. Is your county assembly going to appropriate a conditional grant brought from National Assembly to go towards a function that is being improved, courtesy of the agreement? And is the Auditor General going to audit the PS housing or going to audit the county assembly? It's unclear on how you're moving on these issues. I believe others want to chip in. We've discussed. There are many more others, but in my view, one, we need to do, this agreement is contemplated, but the detail of this agreement is not properly situated to be able to deliver what you're hoping to deliver.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. I think I don't want to ask the members. Please speak precisely. Okay.
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you. And I think from the outset, and everybody in this committee, I think nobody is saying that the Nairobi County should not get more funds. Actually, we need more money to Nairobi County since it is a capital city of this republic. And also, we also need it in our counties, but in this case, we are talking about Nairobi. Chair, I would want to mention that, yes, the governor has alluded to the fact that the law says he shall. What that means is that it's not a must, but when it comes to looking for the national government, you can only do that through an agreement. That's why we are saying it shall be an agreement. It cannot be a roadside declaration and all that. And you have mentioned some cities like the Washington, D.C., like Canberra in Australia, but those have a different setup when it comes to their law, because Washington, D.C. is a federal district, doesn't belong to any state. It has a mayor and it has a local council. Canberra has, it's actually called the Australian Capital Territory. It has its own assembly, but it doesn't have a governor. So they are subjected, the oversight is from the national parliament. But when we come to this, to Nairobi County, we must now follow the section 6, 2, and 5 of the Urban Cities Act that says the management of this county must be in line with the county mandate. Now, that's where we come in as a Senate, and that's where we come in as people's representative. And we ask ourselves, when you're dealing with this kind of agreement, did you reflect on the CIDP, that is a County Integrated Development Plan? Are these projects part of what the County Assembly had passed within their 5-year term CIDP? I would also want to know, Chair, because this county is being run by the steering committee and of course the executive. If there is a disagreement between these two, who comes in between? I mean, if you have a disagreement, because the County Assembly is not given any mandate here. The Senate has not been given. Even when it comes to the reporting is only going to the CEC or the cabinet. So we would want to understand, because Chair, even if we might think it's a simple thing, when we say that we are discussing the county, which in this case is the bride, but the national government has more people in this steering committee, 8 people against the county's 4. And you know, Chair, who is even the chair of this committee, even in a basic setup of a dowry, the chair is always the father of the bride. I mean, we would want the governor to be the chair of this bride, which is the city. Now we are giving it to Mudavadi, who is in the office unconstitutionally, because that's not a constitutional office. So, Chair, mine is to request that, because the governor has said, I think he said it is not final, so we want to know whether is the agreement final. Because if it is not final, then the input of this committee must be reflected in that agreement. And finally, Chair, the public participation, I think, is just cosmetic. It's coming post-signature. You know, the agreement has been done, it will take effect in 14 days, then we go to the people to ask them, do you agree with us? We have already sold the land, we have already given the title, now we are asking people, are you willing to move, or are you agreeing to this issue, Chair? So I think these are some of the things that we need to understand, because even the monies that we are saying, the 80 billion or so, Chair, we need to understand how is it going to be appropriated. Is the money going to come to the county first, and then the county assembly to appropriate through the budgeting making process? Then the money goes to these projects? Or is it the national government that is going to oversee their project and then bring the money, I don't know through how. So that is an issue we need to look into, Chair, because the agreement, as I said earlier, during our pre-discussion, is that the agreement is not complete, because it is saying when it comes to financial matters, they will jointly agree. So it is an agreement that is saying there are some things that need to be agreed. So is it an agreement really? That is the question.
Okay, next. Professor.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Governor. I see the zeal he had as Senator fighting for the resources of Nairobi here again, and he has expressed it in many ways. I want to go to very specific questions, picking from what Senator Tango has said. You have already a running CIDP. What is the relationship within this CIDP and the additional programs that are coming under the agreement? You also have an annual development plan. Are you going to have an addendum of the annual development plan, or you are going to run 2 annual development plans to be able to fulfill these programs? Because this is very important for comfort and assurance of both the Senate and the County Assembly. That first, what was planned for will not be forgotten, and that whatever else you are going to do can be separated. And I will say this because I was an MP in the 10th Parliament when we still had councillors. And we discovered that we were, whatever we were reporting as CDF programs were also being reported at the county council by councillors. And that is very dangerous because if there is an overlap, you will not know what Nairobi County has done versus what Kura has done versus what the national government has done under this new framework. How do you separate them? Both for development and for accountability. Then comes the reporting system. In the reporting system, in this agreement, you have said in clause 7.5 that the agreement, in clause 7.5, the agreement provides that the parties shall report to the National Cabinet and the County Executive Committee annually. I hope the Comptroller of Budget will still have his reports to the Senator, because normally the Comptroller of Budget must give the area senator, a report annually of what is going on with any funding that touches on counties. And this already has attracted the counties. But could you clarify why the agreement does not give us a reporting system to the oversight arm, which is the Senate? It does not give us a reporting mechanism to the county assembly, because for us, this is dangerous. Your agreement is crossing two governments. We hope that you'll be the next governor, but should you not be the next governor, of austerity and beyond your term and the term of even the current national government, how do you see this taking place? Because unless we have a watertight way of reporting projects that are under collaboration, they can easily be abused. Let me leave it at that for now, for this first round. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My questions will be specific. I wanted to know from the governor. I think when he went to State House, somebody had a machete on the right hand and then and the agreement on the left hand. That is what I'm thinking, because the governor is a very clever person and knows what he was doing. I want to refer the governor to the agreement in South Africa, same agreement. And then that agreement talks about clear statement of the parties and their authorized representatives. That's A. B. It wants detailed objectives and priorities of the protocol, means the agreement. Detailed objectives. What do you want to get out of this agreement? What road? Then C talks about separate and detailed clauses, listing the precise roles and responsibilities of each sphere, either national and the county government. D talks about clear governance structure with balanced composition and defined functions of every committee. Balanced composition. The governor, you signed the document without even talking about balanced composition. That's why I was asking you, Ikopanga from corner right. Then E, specific financial contributions, specific, and resource commitments of each party listed in the schedule. How much are they going to contribute? What is the county government going to contribute? Then it talks about detailed work plan attached to the agreement that includes objectives, measurable indicators, outputs, and many other things. Then it talks about mandatory monitoring, reporting, and dispute resolution mechanism. Dispute resolution mechanism with step-by-step escalation. And finally,
duration, review, amendments, and termination clauses. That is what the professor is talking about. You are happy with this contract as an individual.
Dispute resolution.
But when Babu Owino becomes the governor, he will say, no, this is not my work. This is the work of the county, Sakaja. So finally,
I think the senator is completely out of order
finally,
and needs to withdraw that.
let me withdraw that statement. Finally, explicit requirement,
What are you talking about?
explicit requirement that all projects align with the municipality's integrated development plan, which is CIDP. That is what the professor was asking about. Governor, the agreement talks about refuse collection, county roads, street lighting, development of markets, housing, water and sanitation, public health, and finally, any other such areas may be necessary. So my question would be, Your Excellency, what is your problem? Is it that you don't have enough capacity, manpower to do this work, or it is money? If it is money, there is some money that you are supposed to be paid by the national government, which was passed by the National Assembly. Did you write to the national government before you signed this contract?
Which money is that?
There is some money they are supposed to pay you.
No, he's saying there's money that was passed. Which one is that?
It was passed in the parliament. Can you tell
Which
us,
one is that?
madam?
I think Chair is referencing the rating act that was passed that requires
National Rating Act.
contribution in lieu.
Yes. Yes, sir.
I think I've addressed that here before.
Let me
Because of
finish.
the regulations.
So did you? So all these things you are supposed to do, if your problem is money, did you write to the national government to ask for unconditional or even conditional funding so that you can manage this county? Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. And Your Excellency, Governor, we welcome you to this committee. And my apologies for being late. I had another meeting. Chair, first of all, I want to appreciate the work the Governor is doing. It's one job that I don't admire. You're running a capital city, not just a county government, and that is something we must put at the back of our brains. And I personally do not see a problem when the Governor seeks to cooperate with the national government in ensuring that the operations in the capital city of Kenya are smooth. And I can see that in the agreement, the cooperation agreement, you have quoted 189 of the Constitution, and I think that is what is protecting the terms and conditions of this agreement. But I also realize that in 189(2), they say that, let me just read it directly, sorry. The government at each level and different governments at the county level shall cooperate in the performance of functions and exercise of powers, and for that purpose may set up joint committees and joint authorities. And I want to believe that this is a joint authority. While we respect that article, my main problem with it will be, I think you had put the cart before the horse in regards to the public participation. What we are doing here now is asking you questions about what the agreement entails. I believe the public participation should have come before the agreement to be able to hear the views of the citizens of Nairobi County and also the committee. And I also believe that one of the articles that is greatly misinterpreted in these countries, in our constitution, is 190, I'm sorry, I'm not a lawyer, but 190, where it talks about the support for county governments. And number 5 says that the legislation under clause 3 shall require a notice to be given to a county government of any measures that the national government intends to take. And it also says that the legislation should also permit the national government to take only measures that are necessary. And it continues to say, or the legislation will require the national government, when it intervenes, to take measures that will assist the county government to resume full responsibility for its functions and provide a process by which the Senate may bring the intervention by the national government. Personally, I think, to the best of my knowledge and being a good student of English, I think many times we take that article to mean that it's always because the county government is unable to operate or run its function. This is when the national government intervenes. In my view, I think there are more than several instances where a national government may seek the intervention of a national government as long as it's cooperating and not fully taking over or diluting its mandate. But I would like to know, Governor, in the event that after the public participation, the views go against the agreement or what is stipulated in the agreement, is there a room to rethink the agreement? Thank you.
Governor, I have one more little thing. You are aware that IGRTC gazetted a number of parastatals that are holding county functions. And we are expecting that the Council of Governors should be following up on the matters of these parastatals at the summit. Now, I see one of the areas where you want to have cooperation is the roads, and Kura is one of the parastatals that have actually appeared before this committee. Basically, we are asking them when are they winding up? And what they told us is that they have no clue because their parent ministry has not spoken to this. So it would be good to know, because if Kura functions were to revert to the counties, basically the monies Kura is spending in Nairobi would be Nairobi City County money, not even conditional grants. It would actually be monies that come to yourselves. So we would want, even as you do this, I know you're thinking Nairobi County, that Council of Governors would also be alive to the need to help to implement, even as the Senate tries to do its best to ensure that the Constitution is followed. We must ensure that even as we sign agreements, we don't claw back on the little gains that the Senate is making in trying to ensure that the county gets all its functions. Thank you.
Let me also add one or two. Your Excellency, in the duration of the agreement, I think it's 24 months, which extends to the next government. So the agreement does not automatically say or binding that the next government, will it be binding the next government that will come in, whether you're there or not? Two, it does not say the procedures and conditions for renewal of the agreements. So maybe you can ask on that.
A quick calculation.
Okay.
Chair, thank you. And thank you, Senators, for your very good interventions. I'm glad that you all realize two things. One, that there must be an agreement. The law provides there shall be an agreement, and unless you amend the law here. But the law that you've given us as a legislature says there must be an agreement between Nairobi and the national government. I'm glad that there's that realization. Number two, I will emphasize there is no transfer of functions. In this agreement, the national government will do its work and the county will do its work. This agreement is not to oversight county functions per se. when you see a chair committee with the PS of Interior, security is not devolved. But why am I chairing a committee that has a PS for Interior? Because there are security concerns in the capital. There are national projects that many times we just find have been passed, you know, because the county government does not come. And I wish most counties would have an arrangement where the governors can see what is being proposed by the national government to do, so that the county does different things. But you see, when Kura, for instance, and I'll come to the discussion on Kura, when Kura or Kera or Kena are identifying which roads to do in Nairobi, the governor should be there to help prioritize. You know, the senator should be there, the MPs should be there. But you see, they operate vaguely. And I'll give you an example. One big challenge that we've had in this city is the mobility challenge. Mobility is a big challenge. One of the solutions is the BRT. In December of 2022, the European Investment Bank and the AFD came to me saying they have 314 million euros and 74 million euros respectively for line 3 that comes from Dandora. Because of the lack of any structure, it took me 2 years to get cabinet to approve that funding request. But even to date, the loan request has not gone. Because you see, when you have a priority of the capital, if you don't have a forum through which either weekly or fortnightly, these guys have other national priorities. And so they don't see it as a priority. It took me 2 years to just get that. So for me, I'm thinking pragmatically, if I have an arrangement that will help me push, remember, this is not just for county functions, also national functions within the capital. When it says the seat of diplomatic missions in Section 6, diplomacy and foreign service is not a county function. But you see, this is the capital where all of these diplomats are. How do we provide for them? For instance, we're providing water and such amenities at the UN. And now we've done a new line through KTTC, which is now a diplomatic village. That, the fulcrum is the city, is the capital. All of these foreign countries want to have a sister agreement with Nairobi. You know, how do you domicile those? So let's have clarity that it is not to sit to oversight county functions, but together to look at what have we jointly agreed to do, and is it being done, and how can we do it better, and to bring these concerns. You know, their concerns, security concerns, are very big in the city. And now the normal mwananchi in Nairobi, the way they will not know. I saw another demonstration the day before yesterday on the Eastern Bypass because vehicles were, I think, submerged, and someone's vehicle was really injured. And if you hear them, they're talking about the governor. That is not even a Kura road, it's a Kenha road. Now the Senate needs to be radical. Because, you know, I have a choice to do two things. One, I can pontificate and say, this is the purity of how the arrangement needs to be. So let me wait for the day you disband Kura and Kera and Kenha for me to have a discussion on roads in Nairobi. Or I can be practical and say, I need these roads done. And if there's a situation where I can get more resources, I've just calculated for you 7 billion, 6 billion, 3.7 billion. If there's a situation where I can get more resources as the governor, as the Senate and National Assembly works on disbanding these agencies, I will go for that money. Because my people don't want to know a lot of English about, they want things done. They want things done. And the city must move. And let me give you an example. Because this is a discussion we had for a long time. And I remember the late Prime Minister saying, actually being very strong, even when MPs were against him, saying Kura and Kera must be disbanded. He even gave somebody a task, a former PS, to do a paper to see which counties can actually absorb those functions. Because not all counties have that capacity, you know. Kura and Kera work throughout the country. Kura is not only in Nairobi. Kura is in Nakuru, Kura is in anywhere with an urban aspect. The ruling that was passed last year on RMLF that was suspended is where the real story is. If you look at the Constitution, it defines only two levels of roads: national roads and county roads. Number two, county roads make up close to 70% of all the roads in the country. Now, every person on a road in Kenya is paying fuel for roads to be maintained. Last year, they collected 119.7 billion. Out of that 119.7 billion, 70% of it that would come to counties would be 83.9 billion. Out of that 83.9 billion, Nairobi would get more than 10 billion.
Point of order, Chair.
Okay, wait. I mean,
Point of order. I don't mean to disrupt you, Governor. We are all in agreement with all those things you're saying. We have asked specific questions about the constitutionality and legality of the agreement.
Okay.
In order for us to use our time best, I think you should just answer the specific questions we've raised, because we have been very clear.
Order,
answers that we want to.
Order.
And the question on Kura is a specific question from Senator
Just a
Muma.
minute, Chair. Governor, leave Kenha, Kura to us. That is our fight as a Senate, and we have always fought on your side as a Council of Governors on the question of RLF. We want you to address the specific concerns of the Senate on the legality and constitutionality of this agreement.
Okay.
So,
and
Chair,
then we go toward the
So, Chair, should I choose whose questions to answer?
Your Excellency, please, let me intervene.
Because Senator Muma has asked a very specific question.
No, let me ask you one thing. There are several questions the members have asked.
Yeah.
Each one of us here asked a question.
And I think everyone's question is important.
In the interest of time, just go one by one.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
This is the last question.
Okay.
Ken,
Right.
you're the ones who asked the questions.
Proceed.
So can I answer everyone's question?
Sorry?
Can I answer everyone's question?
Yes.
Yeah, you may.
Yeah, thank you.
Please.
So, the IGRTC that gazetted parastatals with county funds, and there are many, including the museum, including some of these libraries, is a process that is so convoluted with a lot of bureaucracy that I choose to be pragmatic as to what I can do today. You know, that person dodging sewage in Madara, etc., wants a solution today. It's not about Athi water versus Nairobi water. We want to get those solutions today. Number two, Senator Izena, thank you, because you appreciate the need to get more resources. Moving from 20B to 80 and above, for me, is historic. And it is something that will be seen. You know, these are projects that you will see. They'll be done in the city, and I have to make sure they are done. The Constitution talks about joint committees, Article 189, that there shall be joint committees. Or rather, it says you may set up joint committees. But the Act says you must have an agreement. So it's not a new governance structure. It is a joint committee. It is not a new entity. It's not an NMS. There's no NMS at a director general, it had directors, it had staff. No staff from Nairobi County is moving to the national government. And no staff is coming from the national government to Nairobi County. There is no provision on HR. The county will continue